Hello there. So there's been plenty of changes that have dropped with the latest season, and it's thrown a lot of builds straight out of the window, but there are two builds that stand out that you should definitely try because before this season, they were very niche. Now, firstly, Commando is still fine. VATS isn't completely dead, so the Stealth Commando at least is still usable. You'll probably just find yourself using more ammo than you did before. Automatic melee is also still strong, so stuff like the auto axe and the chainsaw, while not as good as it was previously, it's still a very good choice. Now, the big difference is with heavy gunner builds. Heavy gunner builds have been sent straight to prison, and very bad things are happening to them there. The Shredder has gotten even worse treatment, and it's currently chilling in some Siberian gulag. Yes, I am very much unhappy with that one in particular. So what are the two builds to save the day? Well, first up we have the Smack That build, and it is titled as such because it is an unarmed fist build. I wasn't expecting this one to perform as well as it did, so it was a pleasant surprise. I'll get into the specifics in a moment, but with something like the Deathclaw Gauntlet, you can one-smack level 100 super mutants, and with something like the Drill Fist, you can also one-smack level 100 super mutants while taking a step back, looking them in the eye while they confusingly think they've won, but then the bleed kicks in. So for the build, my mutations are always the same. This is just my mutations which never change, so pause and check those out if you want. But now for the loadout. So starting off, strength is the most important and where the majority of the cards will be chilling for your unarmed build with some key cards in other slots. Firstly, Martial Artist and Incisor are the exact same as they've always been pretty much. Martial Artist for the faster swing speed and Incisor for the armor penetration. The new ones, or not necessarily new, but changed up ones, Iron Fist is now your fists deal more damage based on your damage reduction. Blood Luster, your bleed effects have 35% more damage and 25% less duration. So bleed is an aspect here. And then Natural Stance, which is quite nice, while equipping a melee weapon, reduce incoming stagger by 25%. Cheap, but very effective. Of course, the other ones for the weight reduction stuff like Arms Keeper and Traveling Pharmacy and Bandolier, if you're not using those, don't worry about them, just chuck them off. I just always carry everything on me, so that's why they're always there. In Perception, Glow Sight for damage to any glowing enemies, and Tormentor for more damage for crippled limbs, which won't really matter too much with this build because we're killing everything pretty much instantly anyway, but for the tankier targets, or if you're going into any boss fights, then this card can, come in handy. Over in Endurance, the main one here is going to be Ironclad. Armor provides 25% more protection, a double if wearing a matching set, and we're using this because of Iron Fist. So your fists deal more damage based on your damage reduction. Ironclad for 3 points is giving you way more damage reduction, so it synergizes quite nicely there. Charisma, Tenderizer, of course, increase the damage. Again, for your just regular mobs, not going to really matter that much. For tankier mobs and bosses, that'll come into play. If you're running solo, then of course ignore stuff like Inspirational and Strange Numbers and go for Lone Wanderer instead. Over in Intelligence, I'm always running Bloodied, so Nerd Rage is always there for me. Makeshift Warrior for the melee weapons break in 80% slower. And then in Agility, I'm also doing this as a stealth build, so that's why I have Escape Artist and Sneak, but also because of Ninja. For 2 stars, bows, throwing, and melee weapons do 100% sneak attack damage, so very, very good for 2 stars. And then, of course, Adrenaline, going on those kill streaks, gets you more damage as well. Over in Luck, RIP and rest in peace to Bloody Mess, but now bleeding enemies you kill have a chance to explode based on your luck. I only have this here because, well, we're using Bloodluster. So these two will synergize if you're using something like the Drill Fist or a melee weapon that has bleed built into it. In this case, and in this example, the Drill Fist will use those two. Serendipity because we're bloodied, and yet Ricochet for that. Survivability, legendary perks. We have Exploding Palm, 20% chance for fist weapons to trigger an explosion on attack hits. That's pretty much the only thing there that really matters for the build. Then, of course, the weapons themselves, like I said, something like the Deathclaw, just rocking a anti-armor version here, faster swing speed with some strength, nothing crazy. There's no other effects on it, so no bleed. So if you're using something like the Deathclaw Gauntlet or the Power Fist, then Bloodluster and Bloody Mess you can also just chuck off because they're not going to be doing anything for you. But if you're using something like the Drill Fist, that comes with a lot of bleed. And the drill fist, yeah, poison, bleed, fire, really good damage. It's also got the 4th star built in, so while dealing damage, 50% chance to not use any action points. It's just a very, very good weapon, but of course it's from the raid, so if you don't have it, then yeah, you're gonna have to do the raid or find someone to buy it from. But anti-armor, +3 strength, very, very good weapon. The footage really speaks for itself. Like I said before, the Deathclaw Gauntlet will be 1 smack in most mobs, even something like the level 100 super mutants, 2 smacks if it's a legendary. Bigger targets like behemoths have gotten way tankier with the update, so they will need multiple smacks, but the damage output is still really good, so they go down pretty quickly anyway. It's just super strong. The drill fist is also really cool to use, has a lot of built-in effects, and you can kind of just hit an enemy and move on because the bleed effects kick in and just chunk the health bar, or you can just hit them until they're dead if you prefer. But regardless, Deathclaw Gauntlets, Power Fists, regular Gauntlets, Drill Fists, unarmed is just very, very good right now. And the damage also still holds up, even without sneaking. So if you want to go full health and no sneak, it'll still perform exceptionally well for you. If you're a ghoul, then there's more cards that you could use for more melee damage stacking, but this character isn't a ghoul, and it's been a while since I've played with my ghoul character, but you have more options there if you seek even more damage output. Over to the next one, we have Ping Pong Destruction. Now, I already covered this quickly in my previous video. It's a bow build. Bows right now are super powerful and fun to use, especially for groups of enemies, but single target damage can easily go into the thousands per shot as well. My mutations are still the same. So for the per card loadout, mainly want to be focusing on perception and agility stats. Strength, again, I just have a whole bunch of my weight reduction cards, and then blocker just for survivability up close, but that usually won't happen because they're dead long before they can get close. Perception is where it's at, of course. A bow before me for the armor penetration. Deal Sealer is the new one. Deal plus 10% damage for each impairment your target has. This, I know I said in my previous video to use the cryo arrows, because that'll give you, an impairment and get you some extra damage. That doesn't actually count. Is it here? Yes, Deal Sealer. Damage against bleeding, crippled, poison, and burning. So pretty much everything else besides cryo. So they singled out cryo there and said, no, screw you, cryo. You don't get the buff. So use poison arrows or something else like that. I just use explosive arrows, but 10% damage for each impairment your target has. Hat trick is where it's at. Arrows, of course, bouncing 3 times, hence the Ping Pong Destruction name. And this is what makes it super strong, super fun. Of course, dealing 70% damage to each of those targets. Glow Sight for more damage against glowing enemies. Awareness, just because I had the points to spare, but you can ignore that if you want. And Tormentor, more damage when they have crippled limbs. Won't really matter too much on regular mobs, but for tankier mobs and on bosses, then that'll come in and help out nicely. Endurance, Radical, Nerd Rage, and Serendipity. If you're not a bloodied build, just ignore those. Fireproof for the survivability. Through hiker, weight reduction. Again, if you don't want it or you don't carry food on you, just ignore that as well. Charisma, Tenderizer is the one to go for here. Strange in numbers and inspirational. Of course, if you're part of a team. If you're not, then use Lone Wanderer instead, or just ignore those and put those points elsewhere. Intelligence, Demolition Expert if you're using the explosive arrows like I was here for this footage. And then Agility, Adrenaline for the nice damage boost. But Mr. Sandman, COVID Op, and Ninja all give you the sneak damage bonus. Very, very strong, and they do stack. But if you want to just pick one maybe, then just go for Ninja or Mr. Sandman, because they're both 2 stars and better than the 3-star COVID Op. But yeah, they do stack and get you a nice boost there. And then in luck, we just have better criticals for more damage, and Grim Reaper Sprint. I've always liked the extra kills, have a chance to restore your action points. And then legendary perk cards. It should not be Exploding Palm, it should be Follow Through. So Follow Through over here instead of Exploding Palm for that more ranged sneak damage bonus. Now, much like my previous video, bows are just really strong now and super fun with those bouncing shots. Very powerful for group situations. Single target damage is insane. Definitely try bows. Bows will give you your ranged option this season. Unarmed will give you your close-up option this season. The only downside to both of these is that you can't use them in power armor, so both builds are not compatible with power armor. So there is that to keep in mind. But of course, you can still go for other melee weapons or your automatic melee weapons if you are wanting to use your power armor this season. Also, just be careful with the bow build. Grenadier plus explosive arrows with Burn in Love is a very deadly combination if you're a bloodied build and in close proximity. Because yeah, the explosions will hit you, and then the burning effect from Burn in Love will also get you. You get the idea. So if you're in particular a bloodied build in indoor situations, be careful. But for now, hopefully this helps you out and gives you some build options to try and have fun with. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.